In this time and age, numbers don't inspire action. What drives real action is the story behind the numbers, the insights you are able to bring out, the narrative that makes the data meaningful and impossible to ignore. Today, we see a lot of professionals that stand out, not because they are well skilled with Excel and spreadsheets, but because they can turn data into clarity, provide insights from the data that they have, and also direction for stakeholders. Now, they help stakeholders to see the true picture behind metrics. They help them to align quickly on what matters and make confident and informed decisions. As a young professional, how are you able to play with data? How are you able to support key stakeholders in making decisions through insights that you are able to bring out from your data? On Finance Series with Oyekemi Ajayi, I'm going to be talking about from data to impact with a focus on financial storytelling reimagined. Interesting, right? I'm going to use a framework called DICA model, to explain what I am trying to talk about. A clean structure with your report and presentation must have the following that I'm going to be talking about. The first is data. Your data states the numbers plainly. The next is insights. Explain the drivers and the meaning of these drivers. The next is C, which is consequences. You need to show what it means for a business or an individual, depending on what the objective of your presentation is. But the data that you have, what impacts does it have on the business? And the last one is A, which is action. State your action clearly and provide next steps. Let's look at an example to bring this home. Operating costs increased by 8% in Q1 2025. That is data. But what insights can you bring from this? An example is the rise in operating costs was mainly driven by higher diesel prices and an increase in logistics spend. Let's look at the consequence of this information or the implication of this increase in operating costs. The implication is that the upward cost pressure is narrowing our margins, signaling the need for immediate cost efficiency measures. And on the action, we need to shift to more efficient energy options and optimize delivery routes to reduce fuel and logistic costs. This would help to provide insights to your stakeholders. So the next time you are doing your presentation, the next time you are doing your report, ensure that you apply this framework: data, insight, the consequence, and action. Let's look at the techniques for telling financial stories. The first is to use headlines and not spreadsheets. So instead of overwhelming people with various rows, maybe your tables and all that, provide a clear and punchy headline. For example, strong revenue growth but margins under pressure. Stable cash flows despite rising operating costs. This alone already tells management what they are expected to see or what they expect to see. It already tells them what the story is. Revenue is growing, but margins are very tiny. The next point is that you need to turn data into visuals. Use charts, leverage your graphs, your trend line, and a dashboard to help stakeholders see the story immediately. The third point is to lead with so what. What am I trying to say here? If you have stakeholders that are very busy and their attention span is quite low, or they're very keen on what the conclusion is first. So you can try the bottom approach, which says, oh, we are profitable, but pricing pressure means we must review our product strategy. So that already tells us, okay, at the end of the day, we are making profits, but there are certain key things that we need to do very quickly. And the final point is that you should tailor your message to your audience. You need to read the room and understand who your target audience are and tailor your message, in line with your target audience. Your story is your story, and it depends on whether you are speaking to investors, business owners, employees, or even non-finance stakeholders. So you need to understand your target audience and speak their language. Communicate in a way that they understand and they are able to relate with the message that is being passed on. In conclusion, the key message that I'm trying to pass here is that you should continue to apply the 4 framework: data, insight, consequence, and action when you are telling your story or doing your presentation. Remember, your target audience, you need to understand them, speak their language, ensure that you communicate effectively so that you can achieve your objective with your report. I hope this information has been very helpful. The next time you do that presentation, make sure that you bring out good insights from your presentation. Have a great one.